Yeah, I stayed in the bed most of the day. I was really guided to just kind of stay home and rest and rejuvenate and recharge my battery, and because I've been really clearing a lot of things lately. I have shifted a lot, and I have really dealt with a lot of difficult shit lately. And so I was guided to stay in bed today, but I was like, no, I need to get out and I need to make some money. And so I got out and piddled around a little bit and really didn't do too much, and found myself out here, which is probably where I should have been in the first place. Here in Indiana, we've really had a lot of rain. And the river's really flooded. We have a lot of flooding right now. The river's really, really high. But this is one of my favorite spots. It's under the underpass. And I come over here and sit a lot of times, and so I thought this would be a good place to make a video. Like I said, I've been facing a lot of stuff, and I know that I'm not the kind of person that really goes back in the past. But as I've been aligning more to my soul introduced itself to me. Which I am my soul, but I'm not quite there yet, because I'm still saying we or us or instead of I. And I was told eventually I'll get to the point where I say I, but I'm not quite there yet because I have just a little bit more work to do. But my soul did introduce itself to me yesterday and let me know that a lot of the things that I have been through that have repeated themselves over the past 3 years on this journey that I have been on were replicas in a sense of things that happened to me as a child. And the reason why these things happened is I'm always teaching that your greatest fears and insecurities will be your greatest teacher, and that lessons will repeat themselves until they're learned. And a lot of times it's hard for us to understand when we're a child and bad things happen to us, injustices and things that are unfair. It's really hard to understand why. But you know, I'm always teaching that, you know, as souls we learn, we want to learn these experiences. And when I was connected last night and this morning with my own soul energy, my own soul vibration, basically what I learned was that as we learn as souls about human experiences and human conditions, and we take on those fears and those conditionings and those insecurities, and then once you are ready to be on a twin flame journey, like such as I was, my soul recognized the fact that I was ready. We face these things that came up, as you know, and it's almost always something from the childhood, and we're able to transmute those into love, and we're able to raise our own vibrations, and eventually all humanity will be able to do that, and there won't be lower energies and lower consciousness. There will just be a new earth. But you know, that may not even happen in this particular lifetime or timeline. That is for like higher timelines. But I have been told that my sole purpose is to help prepare people to be ready to be on the same kind of journey that I have been on. And so with that being said, you know, I've been facing all kinds of things, and I'm prepared to kind of talk about them a little bit. I know I have talked about this before, about the 3D illusions on the twin flame journey, and we create a lot of things in our mind with our imagination. And I had created a whole persona that my twin flame had ghosted me with, another woman. And I was raised all the way through till I was like 14, 15 years old in a town in Virginia. And I ended up having to go to Indiana in '84 with my grandfather because I was bullied, severely bullied. I had some experiences when I was a kid. When I was 13, and understand all the way up until I was 13, my life wasn't good. You know, the man I thought was my father abandoned me. I experienced sexual abuse as a child a couple of different times. One time was very extensively, of which, and I have talked about it before and I've written about it in my blog, where I was a part of a child pornography group that I was a victim of that when I was only 5 years old, all the way up until I was 6 years old. And when I was 13, I had a boy who I really liked, and I was white and he was black, and I was really crazy about him. And I knew that my mom and my stepdad, you know, because my mom was the kind of mother, or the kind of woman that she never could, like, she wasn't independent, so she always had to have somebody else take care of her. So when the man I thought was my dad abandoned us, you know, she found this man who was an alcoholic. He was a hard worker, but he was a very, very severe alcoholic and a bigot. And my mom grew up in a small town in Indiana, and she had those same beliefs too. So I basically hid it from them that I was seeing somebody that was, you know, black. And, you know, I would go to like this club after school. It was called a Huddle. And, you know, we did different things. You know, that was in the 80s. We went to like video game places and pizza places, and, you know, I would meet him there. You know, it was other kids too. We weren't doing anything. We were just innocent kids, just hanging out, having fun. But they got wind of it and came, and my mom and stepdad came and dragged me out of this place. I'm under this underpass. And when they dragged me out, really about near killed me. Literally, I was physically abused very, very badly. Kicked, punched, thrown around, dragged around by my hair. You know, I had a grown man kicking me in my side, and she was watching. And, you know, I couldn't go to school for a couple of days because I was so bruised up. And, you know, when I did go to school, I was asked about it, and, you know, I told, of course. And then I got beat some more, you know, after CPS left my house, or Child Protective Services left my house. And well, you know, my mom and my stepdad lied and had me committed to like this home for juvenile delinquents because they said I was just really horrible. I was 13. I was in there with 16 and 17-year-old juvenile delinquents, like real juvenile delinquents. I mean, I don't like labels, but I'm just saying, you know, for all practical purposes. And when I was in there, I was abused and I was bullied very severely, to the point that I had to be transferred to a different facility because they wouldn't let me come home. And so then I was transferred to another facility that was more long-term, and guess what? I was severely, severely bullied in there, to the point where I couldn't sleep. I was scared to sleep at night because, you know, they would say that, you know, if I went to sleep, they were going to pour boiling water over my head, and they basically stole everything I owned. My mom wouldn't come get me. Then at the same time, I was being bullied at school for an incident because I had succumbed to peer pressure after school one day. I had to stay after school for detention because I'm telling you, I was just going through things and I was acting out at school. And meanwhile, the boy who I got in trouble with wouldn't even fucking speak to me anymore. Wouldn't even fucking speak to me anymore. So I got in trouble after school for like some shit that I was in detention, and after school I had it was some peer pressure shit where I just did not know how to say no. Where, you know, some shit happened, and I ended up being bullied at school, very, very severely bullied at school by these people. And so I was bullied where I lived at, and I was bullied at school. than I was bullied when I lived at, and I was bullied at school. I wanted to die, like seriously. There were so many times I thought about suicide, and I finally ended up having to fight my way out of the place, the institution I was in. I ended up picking up a pool stick, and I ended up hurting about 3 of the girls that were in there. They were older girls, just because I felt so threatened and victimized, and I just snapped and ended up going to juvenile detention and handcuffs. And finally, you know, my grandfather came from Indiana and came and got me and said enough is enough. And, you know, they said, hey, you know, we take her to Indiana, she won't be any more trouble anymore. And went to Indiana and went to this country school where I didn't fit in fucking at all, where I got teased and made fun of all the time. So, you know, I went from that traumatic situation to going to school at this new school where I didn't fit in, where I was different, where I got made fun of constantly. But to make a long story short, I've had to face these things because there was a reason why when I had created this whole scenario in my head about being ghosted for this other woman, because my twin flame is from the place that I had to move from. We lived parallel lives. We never actually really talked or even spent any time together whatsoever during that whole time period when I was going through those things. But we did go to school together. We knew of each other. We connected on social media in September 2016. I went out to see him in October 2016. I had not been back to that place since I was forced to leave. And then when all my fears and all my triggers came up as a result of the journey, they all involved social media and people who he was friends with, who were a party to the people who bullied me when I was younger, that I had not dealt with. And then the woman that I created in my head was one of, you know, those people. I had this whole scenario where people were like betraying me and being disloyal to me and talking about me, and I wasn't good enough again, and all these feelings came up of not being good enough and being victimized, and I really had to face that. Well, you know, when I connected with my soul, and my soul let me know that all of those things had to happen, had to come back around, and it all had to be orchestrated to where it almost looked just like the situation that I faced when I was a kid, so that I could face it again as an adult and this time get it right. And so I've been going through these things for like the past 3-4 days, just connecting dots. This happened because of this, and this happened because of that. And then, you know, I've had people bullying me on YouTube and people harassing me and making fun of me on Facebook. I've had to block so many people, and I felt so bullied again and so teased and picked on, and it brought up all those feelings again, and feelings of not fitting in and feelings of not being good enough. And I had to really face these things, and I was told that these things happened, and these people came in and they were soul family and they all played their parts, and it still doesn't make it any easier. And I know when I talk about these things in videos, believe me, I know, because I've had so much stuff happen to me, so much stuff. And but you know, I chose this as a soul. I chose this. I wanted to experience these things. So I just wanted to talk about the fact that these lessons came back and they mimicked the same exact lesson. And I talk about this all the time. The Twin Flame journey is here to strip off all of that, to tear it all away, to show you what all of your exes have been for. You know, I was shown that I spent all this time in toxic relationships and I spent all this time in jobs that didn't serve me anymore, and things that didn't serve me anymore, and people that didn't serve me anymore, because I didn't want to be a quitter, because my dad, or the man I thought was my dad, quit us and walked out on us, and I've never respected that in people. But as I'm learning and growing, I'm learning that, you know what, there is honor in respecting yourself enough to walk away from a situation that no longer serves you. And it's all right to quit. It's all right to walk away, because that commitment is to me now and not to anybody else. So I have been facing my own cycles and my own patterns that I've been in, and it's been very, very painful. And as I've done this, I've slept a lot. But you know what? I feel so much better, and I feel so much closer in alignment with my soul now, because I've stripped away all of these things that were never me, and I've faced all these things, and I feel so much stronger, so much more powerful. And you know, I've always been this person where I'm telling you, you pick on me, you tease me, you bully me, I am going to turn into a banshee on your ass, because I don't like that. I've been bullied and picked on my whole life. I don't like to see other people bullied or picked on. I mean, I'm like a people's champion. I'm like for the underdog. I cannot stand that. I cannot stand to see other people bullied or brutalized or treated unfairly. You know, and everything that I went through, you know, as a child affected my parenting skills, because I did not have a good background. I did not have a good foundation. And I had to be so strong at a young age. You know, I've been a battered woman. You know, I went through all that stuff as a kid, to where I'm so strong that sometimes it's hard for me to be as empathetic as I need to be. You know, with my kids, a lot of times I'd be like, suck it up. You know, it's just going to make you stronger. Suck it up. You know, instead of being more nurturing, I didn't know how to do that, because I myself am just now learning how to even express a need or an emotion or a feeling, because I suppressed them for so long, because I had to be so hard and so strong for so long. But now I'm learning that, you know what, it's powerful to be able to express a need, to express a feeling. And I'm learning to do that, and it's so uncomfortable for me, but learning to express needs without being needy. Learning to express feelings without placing blame, because the way my feelings have came out in the past has been like passive aggressiveness. Like, you're going to feel what I feel. I'm going to make you feel what I feel, because I'm uncomfortable already, because I don't know how to deal with these fucking emotions. And you know what? You're going to feel it. If I'm not happy, you're not going to be happy either, because I want you to feel what I'm feeling, because I don't know how to tell you how I feel. So I'm going to make you feel it. So I'm learning how to express feelings and needs in a healthy way. And it's very uncomfortable. I'm not used to this shit. But I'm on this journey with you. And like I said, as I learn, and I've taken in so many downloads, and I have so much more clarity now, that I had to take the day off, and possibly even tomorrow, so that I can recharge my own battery, and so that I can get back into my videos. And I'm telling you, my intuition and the clarity that I have gotten is so much stronger now, and I cannot wait to dive into these cards again. But like I said, I need to kind of regroup, because I have been going through a lot, dealing with a lot of things from the past, and tying it into where I need to be at now. I'm tying it into where I need to be at, and the perspective that I need to have right now. That is what I've been doing, and I'm getting there. And like I said, I just literally, I had to come out here and unwind today, but I am going to be doing the videos real soon. I'm sorry to get so personal, you know, in this video, but I really felt really guided to, because I don't mind sharing my stories, because I might be able to help somebody else. And if my stories can help somebody else, then by all means, I want to share them with others. And that is what I'm doing here today. And it was really took a lot of energy for me to make this video. In fact, I sat out in my car going, I'm so exhausted from dealing with all this, but I want to be able to share it. So that is what I've done. But do watch for my videos. Like I said, I feel like I've reached a whole new level of ascension. And I'm just real close to being in soul alignment right now. Real close. Like, I'm not even communicating with spirit guides anymore. I'm communicating with my own soul. And I am really close to being able to say I instead of us or we. So, thank you for listening.